Hello and welcome to Community Business Matters. I'm your host, Kevin Bargender. I'm joined by Carla Lenk from SCORE, and we have our special guest. We have Steve Hollar from Arborvantage here. Welcome both of you to Community Business Matters. So Steve, kind of tell me about your background and kind of tell me about yourself.
I grew up in the town of Sherry on a dairy farm, and I graduated from Auburndale High School. I married, my wife is actually our administrator at Arborvantage, and I have three boys. And I've been in this industry for about 19 years or so.
You don't look
in
old
the
enough
tree
to
care.
be 19 years in the business.
Yep. I started. Actually, I am a MSTC graduate for urban forestry, and I've been doing it ever since I graduated from there.
So tell me kind of what exactly got you into this line of business, and have you always really wanted to do this, be an arborist, or is this something kind of new?
No, it kind of popped up as I graduated high school. I really didn't know what I really wanted to do, but I love the outdoors. And when I was younger, I would make firewood with my dad, and he taught me like how to manage a forest. And you take the bad trees out to let the good trees thrive. And I kind of enjoyed that, and I took it to another level and did it on the city side, on the urban forestry side of it.
And where are you located?
I am actually in a new location. We moved from Arpin to Millador, which is centrally located in between Wisconsin Rapids, Marshfield, and Stevens Point.
Do you have enough room there for all your trucks and everything there?
Yes, we built a new shop. All of our equipment fits in it, and actually we are temporarily living in it also. So it's a new step in our life, and eventually we're going to be building a house, but one step at a time.
So kind of tell me what you do for the community in general.
The past few years, we've been hanging banners up for the veterans in remembrance of the veterans. People have loved ones that were served in the military, and they sponsor the banners, and which we have the capabilities of hanging them with our lifts and whatnot, and we help them out every year. We put them up in Auburndale and in Rudolph as well. Mark Knoyer runs and organizes all of that.
So can you describe like a typical service call you'll get?
Typical hung up branch or a broken tree leaning into another one after a big storm usually is common. Or another common call is just pruning away from buildings and structures is pretty common.
I know he took a huge tree out quite a few years ago that was leaning, and his partner at that time came and said, "Oh, you can't have that tree there." And I said, "Well, it's 50, 60 years old. I don't want to tear it down." He says, "Well, it's going to be on your garage if you don't." And they did just absolutely wonderful job tearing it down and cutting it up, and I even had grass growing within a month. So.
And do you typically work just with the public, or do you ever get like government contracts or anything like that?
We do residential and commercial properties. We work with Port Edwards quite a bit, and a little bit in for the city of Rapids, but mostly it's all residential. And we do some work for Pittsville as well.
So what's your favorite part about like kind of owning your own business?
The favorite part is working as a team. I got a heck of a crew. They all have their own little niche that they're good at. I enjoy that the most, I think, is working with my guys, my crew. They're pretty much my second family, and they're great. Another thing is I like to enjoy talking with clients too about their problems and their trees as well.
And what's something like that was like what's the most rewarding thing I think you about your job? Would you say?
Definitely is having satisfied customers. Making them happy. And doing the right thing to their trees, and kind of talking about it. What's the best option to do? I guess.
And can you tell me some stories like of adversity or something bad that happened, or just something? Everyone kind of has some story. Not every project goes perfectly.
Yeah. Actually, there's not one I can think of. I know there was a lot of tough jobs that we've done. There was a tree broken off about 10 feet, and it measured about 20 plus inches across the base. And it was broke off, hung into another tree, and right over the power and septic system going onto an island. And we had to remove it without, touching that part, and it made it really difficult. It was a difficult location. It was right off of the edge of a bridge, and we managed to do it without any harm.
Do you ever deal with a lot of electric poles or anything like that?
A few times when we have to deal with power lines. Usually I'll get a clearance prune on it, which Davey here in town does clearance prunings on them situations, but legally we're supposed to stay within 10 feet from the main lines. All the residential, the coded lines, the service lines to the homes, we do work around them quite a bit, but we are extremely careful and try to do our best to avoid it when possible.
Steve, talk a little bit about the equipment that you've brought here.
This chainsaw is our bucket saw. I call it a climbing saw. If we were unable to access a tree with one of our lifts, we would use this and climb with it on our side. And we do most removals with these up in the basket of the bucket truck or our spider lift. And we do also do some pruning with it on larger branches. And this is my hard hat that I wear. And for safety cautions, obviously, it's good to have some protection. And also it has a communication device on it, which all my crew members have a set of these on with them. It provides hearing protection and communication, so we can all talk together and have a very safe work environment. Communication is key in this industry.
You have a lot of investment because I've seen a lot of your trucks, and it's very interesting to watch the ATVs. Is that what you would call them? And they've got claws on them, and they're going out and dragging stuff into an open area, and then over to the truck, and then you have another crane that comes out and puts all the stuff in a truck. And oh my gosh, that's tremendous.
Yeah.
But an investment on your part as far as the business is concerned.
Yes, it is. I have all the right equipment to get the job done. So.
How did you get started, basically, in the business itself, though? Because you did have a partner at one time.
Yes, I did. Actually, I did have a different business. I started with a different partner right after I graduated from Midstate in 2003. we mainly did on the weekends though. And we would do work on the weekends, and then he had decided to take up farming. And so that kind of left me by myself in this line of work. It was kind of hard by yourself. And then my other friend, he lived out in Colorado. He wanted to move back home, and that's when we formed Arborvantage.
Okay.
That was in 2008.
And that's an LLC?
Yes.
Okay, and then your wife is the administrator for that in the office?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, and how is she doing with that? Did she have a background that she was able to get this all taken care of? I'm sure that she does all the accounting and everything.
Yes. She has a good background in small business. Her parents own a business, and her uncle owns a larger business, and she helped out when she was younger there. She was a ultrasound technician or a sonographer for a number of years, and that taught her some skills too in that trade. And it was about 2 years ago she made a decision to help me out, and the rest is history. And she's doing a great job of it.
Now, your name though is Arborvantage. Is that something that you created?
Arborvantage. It was a group decision on me and my partner at the time. Yeah.
Okay. And you stuck with the name?
Yes. Yep. Right now, I'm Arborvantage LLC, and Kevin Krings, which owns Arborvantage Nursery, and that's located in Arborvantage.
And how many people work for you right now?
Right now, I have 4 full-time employees and 1 part-time employee. He's currently going to Midstate for urban forestry.
Did you find it hard to find people to hire, or was it kind of easier? How did you go about finding people?
It is extremely hard to find good help and experienced help, and people that enjoy this career. And it was always a struggle, I guess. But I think I've come to a point where my guys are happy, and I sure hope they stick around and continue the Arborvantage name. I can't say lost the words here, but can't say enough good about them.
Well, they always seem to be working as a team, and of course your helmets with the communication ability does help that, because they're all coordinated. They're going this way, that way, and I just watch out the window as you demolish my dead wood.
Yeah.
And just from personal experience, I snowmobile a lot, and we don't obviously have those in our helmets. Some people do, but we didn't. And it's so hard to communicate and coordinate with everyone else that's either behind you or in front of you. Let's say someone broke down. If you're in the back, you might be left there for a little bit before they notice at a stop sign, like, hey, we're missing one sled here. So, and then they come back. So I can't imagine how important and how great it is to have communication right in the helmet. Because you're doing sawing, it's extremely loud. And someone might be really far away. It's impossible to communicate like that and have to yell and stuff. This is just kind of amazing. I'm sure it makes your job a lot easier.
Yes, it does. And it's great, too, when we try to schedule our work. Even if I have another crew that's 5 blocks away, we can still communicate with each other. It's that much, distance on the
Do you think that you would, in the future, that you might have more than one crew, that you would have 2, 3, 4 crews?
At this point, no. But if the workload keeps picking up, I might have to.
If there are more storms like we had a while back.
2019, yeah, that was a rough one. But We got through it. Speaking of which, too, I was going to touch base on that as well. I just thought it was great how the community kind of worked together when that happened. Even the people that came from out of town to help with the power outage and everything else. It was just a great feeling and something great to be a part of, to work together with them teams and all the clients too. It was great.
Would you say you're busier in the summertime or winter, fall, spring? What season is the busiest?
Typically, the fall is the busiest. That's when we start pruning on our oak trees, our elm trees, when the trees are dormant, and then we have our regular work involved too, like your removals of hazardous and dangerous trees. So yeah, definitely, I think fall would be the busiest.
And do you have like some times that aren't so busy that you can kind of maybe go on a vacation or get away from it for a little bit, or is it pretty much busy every single day?
Typically, usually around deer hunting season, it slows down a little bit. I love to deer hunt, and so do my guys. So we take a week off of there and hunt. But typically, we keep busy all year round. So usually there's not a whole lot of slow time. But if I'd have to pick a slow time, it would be probably February, March time when it's thawing out.
And
Maybe thawing out.
Yeah.
It's definitely very like it really kind of is part of like the seasons.
Yeah, it varies quite a bit.
But we're not on the East Coast.
Yeah, thank God.
Thank God.
We haven't had a ton of terrible storms in Wisconsin Rapids recently. We did have one pretty bad windstorm in December, but other than that, we haven't had a lot of extremely bad storms since 2019 when I first got here. Actually, I remember that was just crazy. There was just trees down everywhere, and it just it didn't quite look like a tornado hit, but it was pretty close to that. So it was pretty bad. So it was good that, like you said, the community could get involved, and they cleaned it up fairly quick. It wasn't something that really lingered for a long time. You drive around town, you see a few trees down here and there still, but it's pretty rare that most people have it cleaned up, and the city did a good job cleaning up what they could do, and the parks and everything are pretty much back to normal. Obviously, you can't replace those trees right away. It just takes time, but at least to make it so there's not a hazard for people is almost just as important as replanting. So I think that was just a great way everyone did come together. And then, this job's pretty physically demanding. How do you kind of stay on top of that? Like, do you get tired, or do you work out, or how do you exactly stay in like the physical shape to be able to do this?
Actually, I'm to the point where I'm getting a little tired and a little bit less flexible, but a lot of stretching and drinking lots of water every day, keeping your body hydrated from cramping and whatnot, especially when it's really warm out. It's kind of a bummer in the winter because your body really doesn't want to drink any water, I seem, especially when you're working all day in it, and that could be a kind of a hazard too, not drinking water in the wintertime. But it seems like my body gets crampy a little bit more in the wintertime because of that.
What would you tell somebody that was, a younger person that was looking about getting into becoming an arborist or getting into your field? What are some tips and advice you would give them?
Well, I'm a person, I love outdoors. You'd probably be the type of person that would love outdoors, but I came up with some scenarios here. I would definitely like to have them know, like, I would want them to try to know what they're getting into, because it is a demanding job, physically demanding, and there's heights involved, a lot of dangers, yeah, physical work, dusty, dirty, but I love it. It's not for everybody, but I would just want them to know what they're getting into. That would be my best advice for them, and maybe even do like a job shadow of a tree care company that they're around. Maybe work with them for a day and see what it's all about.
I was going to ask you on a business side, how much extra insurance do you have for your company in case a worker does get injured on tree goes the wrong way? I know that you're an expert at it, but sometimes things happen.
Yeah, we're heavily insured. Our policy, I believe, is like $2 million, and work comp is a good portion of our income that goes out on work comp. And right now we have a pretty good mod factor, and I'd like to keep it that way. As if you have a claim, say somebody busts their ankle up or whatever, your mod factor goes up, and then that doesn't come back down for another 5 years or so it takes. So right now we're at the point where it's pretty good. So, but still, there is a lot of insurance.
Special kind of
money.
insurance, correct?
Yes.
For your industry?
Yes, and there's only a few insurance companies that will actually insure tree care companies. So
I'm assuming you have to put a lot of emphasis on safety for sure.
yes, a lot of training, a lot of emphasis on safety. Normally, I like to have the guys. Well, we do a safety training day, 1 day a week, or not 1 day a week, but 1 day a month. I try to keep that going, and I have the guys. We take turns, and I have the guys pick out a topic, and then that's what we do it on. And sometimes I'll pick a topic that maybe happened, or a close call that recently happened, and then we'll take a day on it and study what we can do to
ameliorate it.
Yes, and to make that situation not happen again, or every situation is preventable. So that's what I try to strive for, is when we're doing them.
And do you think it's important for people getting into this field to have a secondary education after high school, or is it not necessarily necessary?
I would definitely suggest an education in this industry is good. I have right now, I think two guys that didn't have any education in urban forestry at all, but they're picking up things every day, and they learn on the job. So it can be done without any education, but education is good too, beneficial.
And how long?
Especially for.
How long would you go to college or a tech school for this?
Tech school is 2 years, and you can also get a bachelor's degree, and that's a 4-year program. There's also apprenticeships available as well that you can do with a tree care company. And right now I'm not too familiar with it, but I did.
Is that through the state?
Yes. Yep. And I talked with Joe Hoffman a little bit on it, and I'm still toying around the idea of maybe bringing someone on in that program, but haven't pulled the pin yet, per se.
And you mentioned you work with your wife.
Yes.
How is that like? Not everybody gets a chance to kind of work with their family member. How do you like that?
I love it. She's a great help. She keeps us all organized and gets back to clients right away. I think that's key. Having someone answer the phone right away. I always hear of clients saying that they call a tree care company, but they never called them back. She's a great help that way. And she knows her stuff with computers and taxes and all that stuff. So she's a great help.
You've got 2 boys, you said. Are they big enough to help you out? Or just in lower grades?
Yeah, no, my twins are 9, and I got a little guy, he's 7.
Oh,
So-
well, he's not going to be out there with a helmet.
No, not yet, but they can sure sweep the shop floor.
And you said you're living in the shop right now currently.
Yes.
How is that kind of? Is it hard to separate your work life from your personal life right now?
Yes, it is very hard. Me and my wife usually work a lot later than what we should be doing because it's right there. But it is great for our kids right now. They're at an age where they need us around, and we can still have them around and work at the same time. So everything's in one spot. It's nice that way.
Do you have any other hobbies other than hunting that you like to do when you have some free time?
Yeah, I enjoy golfing. Spending time with the family, and a little bit of fishing.
As long as it's outdoors.
Yep, you got it. Outdoors and feel the country air. That's right.
And your clients, I'm assuming, do you have pretty good reviews and pretty good rapport with your clients? Do you have any like repeat clients that come back to you
I'm one.
multiple
I'm
times?
a repeat because my trees keep falling down.
Yeah, I appreciate all the repeat clients. I would say probably 60 to 70% of our work is repeat customers.
They're in and they're out. It's very quick. They don't make a lot of busy work for themselves. It's very focused, and and they promise that they come back in the spring. So
Yep.
it's an ongoing relationship. Me and my trees and Steve.
It's a great one to have.
Oh, that no.
But
And how do you deal with some of the mess that kind of comes with, cutting trees down? You'll have a lot of like sawdust and everything. What exactly do you kind of is that more on the owner to clean up, or is that something that you guys try to help mitigate?
we try to do the best we can at cleanup. We try to get every little speck of sawdust that we can, and yeah, we thrive on good cleanup. So
It depends on the kind of situation it is too, though. I mean, if you have a large tree in the front lawn, which means that it's going to have to be either pruned or it's going to have to be completely taken out. That's one thing.
Yes.
But if you have, like I've got woods all around my house, don't bother with the trunk. It'll disintegrate eventually. Just take what you need down and be done, get it out of here. And some of those trees, the last time, they were just leaning, and it looked almost like they were twisted. The wind had just twisted them off rather than sheared them off.
And I'm assuming you do trunk and root removal as well?
Yes, yeah, we do anything to do with trees. Pretty much, we do it all. Everything we do is in-house. We got all of our own equipment and whatnot, stump grinder, lifts and everything.
Where do you normally take, I guess it depends on the tree too, where do you take all the trees that you cut down? What do you do with them?
We take them to the closest compost site. All of our dump sites are Either they grind it up into boiler fuel or, make firewood out of it. So nothing gets wasted. It all gets into biofuel or even mulch. We haul a lot to Doors Trucking in Auburndale, and they have a big tub grinder, and they grind everything up, and either they color it for mulch or they haul it into a big company that produces biofuel for their big plant. So
how have you seen your business grow since 2008, and where do you think like the future is going to be for your business?
That's a very good question. Our business grew quite a bit. We just started with a pickup truck and a skid steer, and now we got all this equipment, make it a lot easier on ourselves. I guess we grew quite a bit from 2008. Just thinking about it. But if it needs to, we would definitely expand and get larger if we have to. But for me, I like running my crew. Knowing what's going on. I'd like to keep it a small business if I can.
And if people want to get in contact with you, how can they get in contact with you if they want more information?
Sure. You can visit our website at www.arborvantage.com, or you can email us at info@arborvantage.com, or you can give us a call at 715-652-2770.
Well, I'd like to thank Steve for coming out and Carla as well for hosting this. We would also love to thank all of our viewers at home. I'm your host, Kevin Bargender, and we'll see you next time on Community Business Matters.